Hi, fourth grade. I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome to week 2 of distance learning. It's a happy Monday. It's a great day to have a great day. We are going to do some more daily videos on our channel, so let's get started. Figurative language. First of all, everybody say, what? Do you remember figurative language from last year? We're going to start reviewing some of those terms that might seem familiar. Feel free to come back to this video and reference it since you're going to be using these terms all week long. First, the question is, what is figurative language? Mere words. What is figurative language? What is figurative language? What is figurative language? Good job. Figurative language is speech that authors use. It's not meant to be taken literally. So, for example, if a writer says, "You ripped my heart out," they don't mean that they actually did some surgery and took out the pumping organ that pumps all your blood, right? They are going to use figurative language to express ideas with a lot of imagination and a lot of spice. So that's why we have Mr. Pepper down there. Everybody cross your arms and say, spicy. Yeah, it's going to make our reading and writing a lot more interesting. As fourth graders, we're going to take figurative language to the next level and really think about what the author is trying to communicate. So here's our first figurative language vocabulary term. It looks like smile, but this word is actually simile. Can you say that? Simile. Good job. Mere words. Simile compares two things, use like or as. Let's do it again. Simile compares two things, use like or as. Simile compares two things, use like or as. Great job. Next, we have metaphor. Do you notice anything that is the same about this card as simile? That's right, it still has a two. Mere words. Metaphor compares two things, does not use like or as. Metaphor compares two things, does not use like or as. Great job. So both of these are going to compare two things, but similes are going to use like or as, and metaphors are not. So an example of a simile would be, her laugh was as bright as the sun. I'm comparing her laugh to the sun. A metaphor might say, her laugh was sunshine. So I just said, this is something else. But in both instances, I'm comparing two different things. And as a reader, I want to think about why the author chose that particular comparison. What are they trying to communicate? Are they trying to communicate a mood? Are they trying to communicate a detail? What exactly are they trying to tell me? Alliteration, mere words. Alliteration, tongue twister, same beginning sounds. Alliteration, tongue twister, same beginning sounds. So an alliteration is going to have the same beginning sounds of most of the words in the phrase, like she sells seashells by the seashore. Hyperbole, mere words. Hyperbole. Hyperbole is your hint, so make sure your arms go nice and wide. Let's try again. Mere words. Hyperbole. Exaggeration. My backpack weighs a ton. Good job. So an exaggeration is when you're being extra, you're taking things way out there. So for example, this is a hyperbolic statement because the backpack probably doesn't weigh over 2,000 pounds. They're just saying that their backpack is really heavy. Maybe you've said something like, I have a million pages of homework, or I was bored to death. Those aren't really true. It's an exaggeration to express a strong feeling. Personification, mere words. Objects doing people things. Good job, let's try again. Personification. Objects doing people things. Do you see how the word person is there in personification? That helps me remember that I'm talking about an object doing something that a person can do. So this example is the tree waved. When I think about waving, I think, okay, that's a friendly gesture. And it's a movement that goes back and forth. So what I'm picturing in my mind is a tree with a light breeze maybe, and it makes me feel happy and friendly. It's not anything scary or anything creepy. If I was saying the tree stomped through the grass, that might be like a loud, angry gesture. Maybe there's a storm, or maybe the tree's about to break. This is a really fun word, mere words. Onomatopoeia. Bang, pow, zip. Sound words. Good job. Onomatopoeia. Bang, pow, zip. Sound words. An author is going to use sound words that sometimes are crazy looking to communicate sounds. For example, they might say, swoosh went the wind, or the basketball went swish through the net. Okay, that's all of our figurative language. So what I want you to do for this Monday is go through and look at the simile and metaphor videos on the playlist. If you feel really comfortable with simile and metaphors, not just the difference between a simile and a metaphor, but being able to understand what the author was trying to say, then feel free to go watch some other figurative language videos that are on this playlist. And as you read today, make sure that you're looking for figurative language in your reading. Let's talk about math. Okay, we are going to dig way back before spring break, and we're going to retrieve some information that we already learned about fractions and decimals. I want you to hit pause for just a second and think about all the things you know about fractions and decimals. See how many you can name. Ready? Hit pause. Welcome back. I hope you remembered lots of things, but if you didn't, we're going to go through some vocabulary really quick. What is a fraction? Do you remember the gesture for fraction? That's right, we do this. A fraction is a part of a whole. We need fractions because we need to be able to express numbers that are smaller than 1 or part of a whole. We have the numerator and we have the denominator. The numerator is the top number and it's telling me how many parts I'm talking about. The denominator is down low and it tells me how many total parts. As fourth graders, we have learned that fractions are division, so that fraction bar in the middle always means to divide. If these fraction words seem new to you, or if you feel like you're rusty on them, I've saved some slides here so you can come through and hit pause on the video to reread these and to review at any time. Mere words. Improper fraction. Numerator's too big. Good job. 4/3 is an improper fraction because 4 is bigger than 3. So all improper fractions are going to be greater than 1. Mixed number, mere words. Mixed number, whole number and a fraction. Let's do it again. Mixed number, whole number and a fraction. So these are also greater than 1, but they're written with a whole number and a fraction. So we would read this fraction as 1 and 1/3. Remember, there's lots of different ways to show fractions. Usually in fourth grade, we have dealt with the number line and then sometimes the fraction circles as well. We also talked about how many different places we might see fractions in real life, and there's some examples on your screen. We're going to be talking about equivalent fractions and using that knowledge to fill in fractions on a number line. Equivalent means they're exactly the same. Equivalent means what? Yeah, so 1/2 is a benchmark fraction. It's a fraction that is a really good fraction to keep in mind when we're trying to figure out how big or small something is. At the bottom, I gave you a hint for something that we did in class together to list all of the fractions that are equal to 1/2. Do you remember what to do? The numerators count by 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you can keep going. And the denominators are going to count by 2s. So when I write this out on paper or I picture it in my head, it's going to tell me all the fractions that are equal to 1/2. So if you look at the bottom, I can tell that 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4 and 3/6 and 4/8 and 5/10 and all the way on down. When I'm comparing fractions to try to figure out which one is bigger and which one is smaller, there's a couple rules I can keep in mind. If the numerators are the same, look at the denominator. Mere words. The bigger the denominator, the smaller the parts. The bigger the denominator, the smaller the parts. Good job. If the numerators are the same, I can look at my denominator and tell that the bigger the denominator, the smaller the fraction. That seems backwards, but remember, we talked about how if I had a pizza and I cut it into 12 pieces, but you had a pizza and only cut it into 2 pieces, your pieces would be way bigger than mine because you're not dividing into so many parts. If the denominators are the same, we can look at the numerator. Look at these pictures down here. 1/3 and 2/3, as demonstrated by the yellow circles, I can tell automatically that 2/3 is greater because it takes up more space, and 1/3 is smaller because it's taking up less space. Okay, probably our favorite way to compare fractions is using the butterfly method. If I take 1/2 and 1/3 together, I can draw my butterfly, and then I'm going to do what? I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to multiply those diagonals. In this problem, it would be 3 times 1 equals 3, and 2 times 1 equals 2. Once I have those products written up there, I can tell which fraction is bigger. 3 is greater than 2. 3 is on the same side as 1/2, so that tells me that 1/2 is greater than 1/3. Okay, fourth grade, here's what I want you to do. When I say pause, I want you to hit pause on this video and go through these fractions and compare them. So 1/5 would be compared to 1/4, 1/3, and 1/10, and so on. I want you to draw it on paper or do it in your head, do the butterfly method, and see if you get them right once you hit play. Ready? Pause. Welcome back. I hope you did that math. Let's see if you got them right. Drum roll. There was a tricky one. 2/4 is actually equivalent to 1/2. If you have questions about any of these, leave a comment on this video or be sure to text your teacher. Okay, if we're putting fractions in order, we want to be really careful to know whether we're going from least to greatest or greatest to least. And when you look at these on Study Island, you're going to see pictures, and that helps a lot when we're putting fractions in order because you can just look at how much is shaded. In this example, if I wanted to go from least to greatest, what fraction would I start with? 1/2. The next biggest fraction would be 1 5/10, which is actually equal to 1 1/2. Good job. My last fraction, the greatest fraction, would be 5/3. Okay, here's what I want you to do. We've done reading and we've done math. So now it is your chance to practice and earn all those points. So underneath this video in the comments is a link to go to Classkick. It's going to pull up a screen that looks just like this. You're going to enter the class code, which was sent to you on Dojo. If you're not sure what the code is, hop on Google Classroom or text your teacher and she can give you the code. Once you get onto Classkick, you are going to see a screen that looks like this. Maybe. Okay, you're going to see a screen. You're going to log in. You're going to log in as a student. I log in as a teacher, but I'll show you what your screen is going to look like. The first thing you're going to see is an introduction screen. So your introduction screen will look just like this. So you're going to see some announcements, and you can hit play right here and to hear us read those directions to you. It's also kind of like a table of contents to tell you where to go. Slides 2 and slides 3 are going to be our daily schedule, so you know exactly what's expected of you, and your choice board. There's brand new stuff. There's some really cool recipes and a lot of fun activities on the choice board this week, so be sure to check that out. There's also a new point system at the bottom. So there's a reading slide right here. As you're reading today, I want you to look for some examples of figurative language if you can find some. But your job today for Monday is just to read for 30 minutes and put some wonky words, illustrations, and then tell us about what you read at the bottom. Then for math, it's going to be comparing fractions like we just learned in this video. So you're going to shade, compare these fractions, and then you're going to circle the larger fraction. You can also draw the greater than less than symbol if you would like to. If you are unable to get on Classkick, come right back to this video and just hit pause. You can write this down in your math journal and send it in that way as well. Finally, there's a free journal page. So this is where you can journal to your teacher, tell us whatever you want, and we will record a voice message back to you. You can also use this page to record any choice board work if you need somewhere to put that. Remember, it is not your parents' job to get your work turned in on time. If you have access to Classkick, which everybody should, Or if you have access to Google Classroom, we want you to turn your work in that way so that we can leave you messages and give you feedback really fast. If all you have is a phone right now, that's fine. You can do everything on paper and you can absolutely text it to us. But remember, that's still your job, even if you're using a parent's phone. It's your job to get it done, and it's your job to remind them. We love you and miss you so much. Come back tomorrow for our Tuesday video. Bye, fourth grade. Have a great day.